I remember a season of my life where on paper, everything looked like it was working. The business was growing, my kids were needing me in very real ways, and there were opportunities everywhere. And yet, I felt like I was failing at all of it. Because no matter where I was, I felt like I should be somewhere else. If I was working, I felt like I wasn't present enough as a mom. But if I was with my kids, I felt like I was falling behind in my business. If I tried to rest, I simply felt like I was wasting time. And underneath all of that was this quiet pressure. A capable woman should be able to handle all of this. Can't I just have it all? And that's when I realized maybe the problem wasn't me. Maybe the problem was the question itself. If you can relate to this feeling, like you never seem to be meeting the expectations of all of the roles that you carry in your life, then this episode is for you. Welcome to the Inspire Podcast. I'm Andrea De La Cerda, CEO, entrepreneur, and someone who has spent years redefining what success actually means, not based on expectation, but on alignment. This podcast is about breaking out of inherited definitions of success and building something that actually reflects the life you want to live. And today we're talking about a question that so many women carry, often without even realizing it. Can I have it all? Thriving career, present family time, financial success, health, peace, purpose, all at the same time, all done well, all without dropping anything? Here's the truth. That question is setting you up to feel like you're always falling short. The idea of having it all didn't come from nowhere. It emerged as women gathered the workforce in greater numbers, particularly in the 1970s and 1980s, alongside the rise of the modern feminists and economic independence. But instead of replacing old expectations with new ones, all we did was just layered new ones on top of the old. So now women are expected to build successful careers, be fully present caregivers, maintain relationships, prioritize health and wellness, and do it all with a sense of ease. Not to mention the household responsibilities that often do fall on women as they have in the past. Research from Pew Research Center shows that in dual income households, women actually still carry the majority of household and caregiving responsibilities. And a study from McKinsey & Company found that women, especially in leadership roles, report significantly higher levels of burnout than men, largely due to compounding demands of work and home. So what we've created is not equality at all. It's an expansion without relief. So more roles, just as more expectations, more pressure to perform across all of them. And then we ask ourselves, why does it feel impossible to have it all? The cost of trying to have it all isn't just exhaustion. It's also fragmentation. Because when you're trying to meet competing expectations simultaneously, how's that ever going to work? You're constantly divided. Your attention is divided. Your energy is divided. Your sense of self becomes divided. And what happens is really subtle, but powerful. You start measuring yourself against the impossible standards. So no matter what you accomplish, it just never feels like it's enough. I have lived this, and I know many of you have too. There were seasons where I was building businesses, navigating complex personal challenges, raising my kids, managing relationships. From the outside, it looked like I was doing everything. Inside, I felt like I was constantly behind. It was a scramble. Nervous system was completely dysregulated. I was constantly dropping something and then recalibrating again. What I didn't realize at the time was that I wasn't failing. I was trying to meet a standard that was never designed to be sustainable at all. So if having it all isn't the right question, then what is? I think the better question is, what matters most in this season of my life? Because life's not static, it moves in seasons. And we as women know that best. There are seasons where your business requires more of you, seasons where your family requires more of you, seasons where your own healing or your growth, your recalibration becomes your biggest priority and should be. And then when you try to give everything equal weight in every season, you create constant internal conflict within yourself. It's impossible to avoid. But when you define success based on your current season, then you allow something to shift. You stop trying to do everything at once. You start doing the right things at the right time intentionally. And for me, there have been very distinct seasons of rebuilding after leaving my marriage, for example, where survival and sustainability were completely the focus of my attention. There were seasons of intense business growth where I leaned into building and expanding, or seasons where my children just needed more emotional presence from me. such as during the COVID pandemic, when I really felt like their mental health needed my attention. And I chose to recalibrate my time. And in each of those seasons, success looked different, not smaller, just more aligned, more honest. This is where a lot of women struggle, because once you acknowledge the seasons, well, then you have to also acknowledge the trade-offs. If you can't do everything at the same time, well, then what's going to give? This can be a difficult question. And we've been taught that trade-offs mean loss, but in reality, trade-offs are what make alignment possible. You can't prioritize everything at the same time, at the same level. So the question becomes, what am I choosing right now? And what am I intentionally not choosing? That's actually, there's power in that. Not because you're limiting yourself, but because you're choosing with clarity and intention instead of reacting from outside pressure. There are moments in my life where I had to say, I'm going to focus on building this business right now. And that means other things will just are not going to get the same level of my attention right now. And that is going to have to be okay. Then there were other moments where I said, my family needs me in a different way right now. I've got to be completely present with them. And now I need to adjust my business and delegate accordingly. But it's not forever. It's just for now. Again, for the current season. And when you make those decisions consciously, the guilt just starts to lose its grip. A big part of the pressure to have it all comes from external validation. We're really measuring our lives against other people's expectations, what we see online, what other women are doing online, what society defines as success. But you can build a life that looks perfect from the outside and still can be completely disconnected from the inside. Because if it's not yours ultimately, then it's not going to feel like yours. There's research on something called hedonic adaptation. It's this idea that external achievements create only temporary increases in happiness. But when your life is aligned with all of your values, your satisfaction in life is so much deeper. It's more stable, more real. And so the shift becomes from like, does this look successful? The question is now, does this feel aligned with me inside my body? Instead of asking, can I have it all? Perhaps try asking, what matters most to me in this season? What am I intentionally choosing right now? What am I willing to release temporarily or permanently to support that choice? Does the way I'm living actually reflect what I value? Because success is not about accumulation, although some people think it is. It's really about alignment. And alignment requires choice. It requires priorities. If you've ever felt like you should be able to do more, hold more, be more, I want you to hear this today. You're not behind. You're in no way failing. You're navigating a set of expectations that were never meant to coexist without tension before. The goal is not to have it all. The goal is to build a life that feels like yours and why you're here on this earth and what is most aligned with your purpose. And that requires something much more powerful than balance. It really requires the truth. Your action step this week is to take a moment and ask yourself, honestly, what season am I in right now? What does success look like in the season that I'm in? And then write it down, name it, describe it. Let that guide your decisions. Let that guide your priorities and your energy and your focus. That is your first step toward a fully aligned life and business. And if this episode resonated with you, please tell me your thoughts. Send me a message on Instagram. AndreaDLC_coach is my handle. I want to hear what you're choosing in this season of your life. Because the moment that you stop trying to have it all is the moment you start building something that actually feels like enough. We'll see you next time. Take care. Thanks for joining me on today's episode. If you'd like to explore what your life could look like when your business and life are aligned with what you're really meant to do, get a business audit. I'll personally review your business, look at your social accounts, and give you some precise direction on what's working and how to create even more impact and income. Simply go to AndreaDelacerda.com, navigate to work with me, and select the business audit. Again, that's AndreaDelacerda.com. Work with me and then select the business audit. And if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to like and subscribe. That way more content like this can be shared with you as soon as new episodes drop. Thanks so much for joining again. See you soon. Take care.